Can Canada do that thing and give the U.S. problems? What about what you think, Coach Johnson?
No. Even though they had no, even though they got 10 NBA players, so do we. And when you look at yes, SGA, all right, but then you got to think about Anthony Edwards. You know what I'm saying? Everyone they got, we got somebody can match up, if not better.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. Wait for it, 500th episode. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today we have an extra large contingency of our cavalcade of stars, starting with our academic and athletic consultant, George Ocker. George, thanks for coming, and I think you joined us about 250.
Hey, blessed to be here. Blessed to be here. Blessed to be here.
Captain for life, Will Cotton. Will, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming.
Man, I'm happy to be around all the legends around here, right here, man. I'm just happy to be here amongst them. So it's cool.
Our college basketball expert, Coach Nima Obadar. Nima, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, excited to be here. Congrats on 500 and looking forward to 500 more.
Yes, indeed. The coach's coach. It's not cold up there right now because they got 4 seasons in Vermont. Coach Johnson, Coach, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, man. Looking forward to sharing with you guys. And you're right, it's not cold up here right now.
And, of course, our favorite administrator and the person who helped me find the gap in the research. That's like a private joke. Robert Abney. Robert, what's going on, man? 500.
500, man. That's hard to believe. I feel like I've been here for at least 250 of them. I don't know.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Anyway, just living the dream, man. Happy to be here as always.
All right. In segment 1, we're going to talk Team USA men's basketball and also share some love for the TBT tournament. In segment 2, we'll talk about the women's game and what's going on with the 3-on-3 situation. And in segment 3, we'll celebrate 500 and see if anybody else stops in. But first, knockout stage for the men. By the time this comes out on Wednesday, quarterfinals will be done. We'll be in the semis and the finals. Hopefully, Team USA is there. Quarterfinals, we've got Serbia versus Australia, Brazil versus the U.S., Germany versus Greece, France versus Canada. I'm predicting in the semifinals, Serbia versus U.S. and Germany versus Canada. And in the finals, U.S. And Canada. Nima, I'm going to start with you. Do you think we're going to win this gold medal or is somebody going to give us a hiccup?
No, I think we're well positioned. I think first and foremost, I think the coaching staff and the Olympic Committee for Team USA for 5-on-5 has done a hell of a job. They got what they sought out for. Number 1 seed, best point differential. It's hard when you're in a short session segment to coach and motivate, especially 12 elite, best of the best in the world. And I think Coach Kerr was very strategic and smart, blocking out the noise, resting guys, let the media say whatever they want about why didn't this guy play, that guy play. We're playing a 6-game sprint, and so far so good. I'm really happy with where Team USA stands. Just got to make sure we take care of the ball going into this tournament.
All right, Coach Johnson, what are your thoughts on Team USA?
I think it's a very good team put together. I agree with Coach in the sense that Kerr and staff doing a good job blocking out the media. All right? Listen, I'm one of Joel Embiid's biggest fans. That's our guy here in Philly. But again, I thought the decision to sit him against South Sudan was actually on point because of the way they run and so forth. He came back strong against Puerto Rico. He'll be ready moving forward because of everybody's size. But again, that's a very good team, and these guys are playing. And I'm happy to see a healthy Durant. He makes a huge of a difference. Huge of a difference. So I see them winning the gold.
Right. Now, Robert, I've been watching FIBA officials, and South Sudan is a little mad. Is there any team that you're seeing that could give us the best possible game, and anything you've noticed about officiating in terms of FIBA versus what they're used to in the NBA?
I think you're prognostication in terms of where this is going, I think you're spot on. I think the U.S. is going to see Canada in the final. And I think that's probably going to be their best game just because somebody has to guard SGA. And I mean, that dude can just flat out score. So I think that'll be the biggest challenge. In terms of the officiating, it's always interesting, I think, because FIBA philosophy does not necessarily align with what the NBA guys are used to and how the game is called. And then the speed of the game with those guys, it's just different. And some of these officials probably haven't seen as much of that as others. And I think that probably shows, but in the end, I mean, it's the same for everybody. And if the U.S. is starting to complain about the officials as the reason why we didn't win the gold medal, we got bigger problems than that.
All right. Now, I do have to ask, and I'm going to Will for this. Not only Will, but Point Five, our intern extraordinaire, have had a problem with Devin Booker. Will, any thoughts in terms of his play? And I know we've got some elite coaches here, but it's okay to say, I don't know if that was a good fit. What say you, sir?
Yeah, he may not be a good fit, just the way his skill set works. He likes a lot of like double teams and one-on-ones and picks, and he likes to really work on his skill set. But I think one of the things that people aren't talking about is, he's still a good teammate.
Yes.
He's not playing well. People are giving him a lot of trash, but he's not making a big deal about him. Tatum's not making a big deal of being on the bench. These guys, I think they really like each other. I think they enjoy being around each other. So I think I wouldn't worry about Book. Obviously, we all believe I don't think his skill set works with the Olympic Games, but he's a hell of a talent. But they could have went with somebody else. But they all like each other, so I don't think there's any issues going on right now. They're gonna do his thing. He's gonna get his minutes. He's gonna get his shots. But he's not going to be the reason they lose. I'll say that. He's not going to shoot them out of the game. I hope not, at least, but I don't think it's going to happen. But
George, final thoughts. Team USA, are we gold bound? What say you?
I think so. I don't see anybody really giving us. If we bring our A game, I don't think there's anybody out there that can play with us. Canada is going to be a good game. Canada's sitting around understanding how good they really are. I guess they understand in their own heads how good they really are. And I don't think they've been playing around with a whole bunch of teams, especially that last game. They were playing around until the last moment and had to come through to win. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I see United States and Canada. Back to the whole Booker situation. I think more than anything, everybody's accepted their role on that team. So that's where we got to a situation. It's not that anybody doesn't, there's any animosity. I think everybody accepted their role. And like we said last time, it comes down to Durant, LeBron, and Curry. And after those, as long as those three show up and have a good game, there's nobody else in the world that can beat them. So that's where we are.
All right. So Coach Johnson, I'm going to go to you with this one. Canada. They got 10 NBA guys and FIBA rules, 10-minute quarters. They're going to be locked in. They're going to be focused because they're playing Team USA, but they might play an NBA game. Can Canada do that thing and give the U.S. problems? What you think, Coach Johnson?
No. Even though they Even though they got 10 NBA players, so do we. And when you look at, yes, SGA, all right, but then you got to think about Anthony Edwards. You know what I'm saying? Everyone they got, we got somebody can match up, if not better. All right. I like the USA team. Yes, Canada will give them a game, but USA should beat them, in my mind, 15, maybe 22 points.
I'll say that. I'll say this, jumping on this. And I know people gonna have, will go against it, but I understand where you're coming from, Coach Johnson, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes down to it, Canada does not possess the strength in the paint that the U.S. has, and it's the one time the U.S. can match up and bully ball another team in the paint, because they can't do that with a lot of other teams in this tournament. You got Kelly Olynyk in there and a couple other dudes going up against Embiid and
Right.
AD and Bam. It's a bad matchup for Canada. That's where Canada has their bad matchup.
I'll say this, fellas. I'll say this, and I believe Canada is the next best team. And if they are in that game, I think it'll be a couple possession game. That night before the game, Team USA is going to know that the pressure's on them. But Germany's not scared of anybody, and I would not discount Germany pulling up an upset, because just how we're talking about looking forward, Canada in the championship. If those Canadians and others sleep. And oh, by the way, the French still have a pretty damn good team too, and they got the home court. I think this quarterfinals going all the way in is going to be spectacular.
All right. So now moving forward, I want to talk about the basketball tournament, and I'm so happy to see it grow, evolve. It's winner take all. You get a bunch of alumni group. My alumni is just a little bit too old. I don't know if Will can go up and down the court like he used to. But Coach Nima actually coached in the TBT last year. A lot of former players in it. So Nima, tell us a little bit about it, and let's celebrate that big win by Carmen's crew.
Yeah. So congratulations to Carmen's crew, the Ohio State alumni team. TBT is professional basketball, and Dan Frill, Chris Paul, and that whole crew that has started that and grew it have done an unbelievable job. You saw a game this year, Louisville versus Kentucky alumni, had over 10,000 people in the stands. Obviously, playing for cash is big, but guys are getting NBA contracts out of this tournament. It's a unique style of basketball. It's like jailhouse basketball. It's what I saw. There's not any touch fouls being called. Referee came over to me and told me straight up, Rob, he had the whistle over his mouth, like, son, you don't got no superstars over here. We're not giving you that call. Okay, all right, we got it. So, it was a unbelievable experience for us in the Maryland alumni team, and we fully plan on being back next year. But that is something that I only see growing now. It went from ESPN's kind of secondary platform to Fox Sports and FS1, FS2. As more eyeballs come on that thing, more corporate sponsorship dollars step into the realm. This is going to be something that's going to just grow even bigger and touch from the left coast to the East Coast and really just expand our opportunity as basketball fans to see great hoops year round.
Robert, do you have any friends that repped in the TBT? Any thoughts on that from a referee standpoint?
I haven't talked to anybody this year who has. I have in the past, and they've just, they have a good time with it. They love it. It's high stakes basketball, but at the same time, it's good basketball. You have good athletes, and it's just, to me, there's two things that always strike me about the TBT. One is it's a celebration of basketball. It really is. It's people. And yeah, you're chasing that $1 million, but a lot of it is you get to hang out with your old guys and you get to get after it. And I think that's a great setting. The other thing, I love that Elam ending. I love it. I love that. And I wish that, I would be fine if somebody, high school, college, if we decided to do that, I would be fine with that. I love that Elam ending. I think that's one of the best things about the TBT.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you can different team. You can get sponsored. Like if I get a couple of us can get together and we can put up the money to sponsor the team to be in the league, and then they wind up grabbing partnerships with different companies to go ahead and sponsor them more through how it usually goes when I was looking into it. But hell, the Ohio State alumni have been killing it in that daggone league for the past 5 or 6 years, because I remember watching that first year and they came up winning. So I hope it gets other schools, which I've seen down the line they do, but I hope it gets other schools more involved where they start bringing back a lot of their guys, because Ohio State gets their alumni and they come in ready to go. So I'm hoping Syracuse, and I saw Syracuse got a good team together. I'm hoping some Dukes and some other schools get together that are got good basketball pedigrees.
All right, and to close out, final word. Following, did you have a group participate in TBT one year?
Yeah, we had Mason had a squad in the TBT a year. But to add to George, even if you get a sponsor, from what I remember, it still doesn't qualify you to be in the TBT. Like they have to vote. So it's
Right.
fan voting, all this stuff. So I could put a random team in TBT, and if we don't get enough votes, we're not participating.
You can
Right.
add to that, Nima.
So
Yeah, there's 400 entries last year.
exactly.
And last year did not entail a entry fee.
Mhm.
You just had to cover your expenses, which is where the sponsorships come in, George. This
Yes.
year was a $10,000 buy-in on top of your fees, and they still had unbelievable demands. So, it just shows you the economics of it are there. People are putting up the money now to go play, and then they're going to go get the sponsors. And I paid attention to the sponsorships, front of the jersey, back of the jersey, on the like they're taking advantage of all the assets. They're doing a great job, and the more we talk about it and support it, obviously I'm a little biased because I got a chance to do it. I think it's only going to make for more fun basketball opportunities for us to view as fans.
Agree.
All right. So when we get back, fans, we'll talk about the women's game, see if we can win that medal on the women's side. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast. This segment 2. Let's talk about the women's game. We're going to have just an exciting group. We've got Serbia versus Australia. We've got the United States versus Nigeria. We've got Spain versus Belgium. We've got Germany versus France. I'm going to start off with Folarin. Folarin, does Nigeria have a shot against Team USA? What do you think, sir?
Man, look, I'm rooting for them, just because I have that Nigerian heritage, but we don't. It's a whole lot of stuff that went on to, again, Nigeria not even having any WNBA players on their team. You know what I mean? That's a whole other different story with the federation. But I just love the fact that we qualified. You know what I mean, for this. And they're fighting. Every single game is tough. So I'm rooting for them, but I don't think we stand a chance.
All right. Coach Johnson, on the women's side, is there any team you think can give the U.S. a shot?
No. And I'll be honest, listen,
Yeah.
it's a very highly skilled team. Matter of fact, that team might have beaten the men's 3-on-3 team. You could have taken 3 of them and beaten the damn 3-on-3 men's group. And when you talking about the way Stewie's playing, Asia, then you throwing in BG along with the guards and the way they were shooting that is a very good put together team. I know early on people was complaining about Angel and Kaylin possibly being on the team. This is a hell of a basketball team. Those young ladies, fortunately, will get a chance 4 years from now. But this team is not losing.
All right. Nima, give me your thoughts on Team USA's women's team.
Well, to piggyback on Coach Johnson, the girls that aren't on the squad this year, in 4 years, their fire in their belly is going to be superb when it's
Agreed.
in LA and every arena is packed, and that's going to be
Agreed.
exciting. But until then, I think our current Team USA, who's very experienced in FIBA competition, will bring it out. But unbelievable job by Nigeria, as we mentioned. They're the first African nation,
Yes.
either men or women, to
Yes.
advance to this stage. That's unbelievable, and they
Yes.
play with such passion. Like I'm loving watching them because they're having just so much fun. It's really been a good story, and they'll scrap. First quarter it'll be close, but I think we'll end up pulling away.
Right.
And Nima, I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things Fowler and I talk about when we just talk basketball is the level of fun you're supposed to have when you play, because you're playing a game and they play with such joy.
Mhm.
And that's why you kind of root for them. Same thing with South Sudan, just looking at just running, jumping, passing, high-fiving, having a great time. One more is one of my favorite basketball plays, when you just make the extra pass just because. So, yeah, good luck to them. Robert, I don't know how much you've looked at in terms of the women's Olympic tournament, but in terms of officiating, is there anything that catches your eye officiating the women's game compared to the men's game?
I think at that level, probably not. It's worth noting that the officials for the Olympics, they choose 30 officials, and you can work both men's and women's games. They don't differentiate between the two. So for example, I was talking with a guy, an NBA ref not too long ago, and he had actually worked the Olympics a few years back, and he said he worked men's and women's games. And actually that question was, someone else asked him that question, did you notice a difference? And he said, no, not really. They just, at that level, everybody's pretty highly skilled.
Right. Now, George, I'm going to come to you for this one because there was a lot of noise about Caitlin and Angel Reese, etc. After now watching it and seeing the empty seats when the U.S. plays, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are the same. We're in a situation where when that team was created, they weren't one of the 12, 14 best players. Neither Caitlin nor Angel Reese were one of the 12 or 14 best players in the league. And we got what we considered the 14 best players in the league at that time. You can't, hindsight's 2020, you're not going to go back and make a team. Go back and make changes to it, especially as good as this team. Really, honestly, you go and look besides the last game where they're playing Germany or Belarus or somebody, whoever, the guards were turning the corners on our guards a little bit because Edesky and the rest of them couldn't move their feet, but Plum came in and shut that down. Right. So there is no, I don't know who would you sit? And that becomes the case right there. If I'm going to go and I'm going to say, I'm going to pull this person, I'm going to pull that person and put them on the team, who are you going to take off the team? And you have no basis to take any of those girls off the team right now. So we got the 14 best. They should run roughshod through whoever's left. They'll have a couple of hiccups like they did in the last game, but it's all about them staying invested and them staying mentally prepared and ready to go. And then like I said with the USA team, as long as you have Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Kelsey Plum show up every night, they're not going to be beat. That's just the way it is.
And another beauty of everything, both teams are playing so unselfishly. Some of these passes and how they're finding each other has been so fun to watch as a basketball fan.
Well, Coach Johnson, thank you for the segue. And Will, I'm going to have you open with this. I can tell you what hasn't been fun to watch: the men's US 3-on-3 team. What in the heck is going on with that? Will, tell me I'm not dreaming. To quote Jermaine Jackson, when did we become bad at 3-on-3?
I don't just know why they didn't even grab 3 NBA players. There was a couple dudes that they even had on the USA team now, they're gonna be like, all right, well, y'all didn't make the 3, but look, we got this other joint where y'all can play 3-on-3 and y'all can get a medal and money.
Right.
And they be like, dog, and you don't gotta get like everybody. You can go get like, man, let me go get. You can get anybody. Like you can get like, no, you ain't have to reach for that, Joe. What I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? I think they will address that. I think they couldn't have the mockery that they've had where they're getting shut out and they're getting beat and getting beat up. You know, that doesn't work well for the brand. So I think they'll definitely will address it. In 4 years, you're going to see like Dwight Howard in that joint. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see like Mike Beasley in that joint. No, I mean, this 4 years, but they have to address it. That was a poor presentation of on 3-on-3. And we started, and we got better Big 3. An actual Big 3 league that's better that they put out in the Olympics. So I mean, we gotta do better than that. So
okay, Nima, give us some levity with this. Can you explain the level of underperformance we've had with 3-on-3? Talk to.
Yeah, I think you get out what you put in, and we're not putting any sort of emphasis nationally on 3-on-3. Where internationally there's big cash tournaments. I've got players of mine that are getting paid going to these 3-on-3 tournaments and sold out arenas. So it matters. It's a different branded game. You take somebody from the NFL, could be a superstar, put them in arena football. It's a little different. They got to adjust. They got to learn. I would not be shocked, Will, like you said, in 4 years, it will be different. Don't be surprised if you got a name like LeBron, who's like, you know what? I'm going to pass the torch. Y'all got it on the 5-on-5. I'm going to come play 3-on-3. Some, in LA, something that will be location specific. Obviously, I don't have any intel on that, but that's something that it's got to have importance. But we, as a basketball culture, have to embrace it as well. There needs to be some 3-on-3 tournaments like it used to be back in the day with Hoop It Up. Like we need to start learning how to play 3-on-3 because it is a different style of game. It's fast paced. It's unique. So we've got to emphasize that.
Hey man, whatever lessons we learned through the men's game, pass it on to the women's team too, because they were getting dusted. They made it
to
the semifinals though.
They got Angel Reese on that joint. Wow.
Yeah, they won a couple. They won like 2 or 3 games and got them back together. But those first 3 games, they got dusted. So yeah, we were unprepared, dog. Go ahead.
Follower, any thoughts on 3-on-3?
No, I agree with Will. I think on the men's side, we'll start getting some NBA guys to play in it. Just like we got WNBA, ladies playing in a 3-on-3. It is a different game, you know what I mean? It's a totally different game. You know what I mean? Like they run, like if you've been playing 3-on-3, you run plays, they execute, they take advantage of mismatches. So yeah, you can't just put 4 NBA guys together and think, oh, we just going to take care of it. No, it's a different type of game. As soon as a made basket is scored, like you can't just relax. Like this is a totally different game. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not about just having the talent out there, but guys got to have played with each other for a little bit. And I think that's why they have that group that went Jimmer Fredette. Like it's no reason for him to still be playing a 3-on-3. But again, I don't know what.
Hey, bro, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what.
I love me some Jimmer Fredette, but he's not in the NBA because he couldn't guard anybody to begin with, and now you got to try and guard somebody in the half court. Come on,
right?
Yeah. Like, and he's 35.
All you need when you see somebody old, you see him again, you're like Jimmer Fredette. Good for him. Good for him. That's what I saw. I was like, man, I know you.
Speaking of a different game, Robert, any knowledge on repping 3-on-3 basketball?
None, not any. No, I've never done it. No idea. Nothing.
All right. Well, fans, when we get back in segment 3, we get to celebrate 500 episodes. We get to swap some lies and tell some stories. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast, and in segment 3, the Odd Coaches Podcast reaches 500 episodes. So our goal when we started all of this was to have conversation over confrontation in terms of our approach to sports coverage. And myself and Coach Franchise actually were taping on his birthday today. So shout out to him. We used to work together at summer camps, and one of the summer camps we worked at was at the Hoop Group. Shout out to everybody with the Hoop Group. Neiman knows those Hoop Group folks. And we used to stay up late, tell stories, fuss at each other about DC guys, Baltimore guys, Philly guys, whatever. And our friendship goes over 20-something years. And one day, the story goes, his son, AJ Francis, one of the hottest wrestlers in the country, in TNA right now, overheard us and said, you and this guy need to have a podcast. And COVID hit, and we had all of this free time, and my wife said, go do all of the things you want to do. Greatest partner I ever had. So I've got my core 4. Shout out to super producer Kelly, Sharita Campbell, who hopefully can say hi before the end of the show, Franchise, and myself. We've got Point 5 as our intern when we started, and our super fan, JJ. Yes, George, JJ is our super fan. And now we've got this cavalcade of stars. Robert, we go back to our pursuit of postgraduate success, and he's jumped in. And not only that, he also just helps with the CKSA project. He's on the board of directors. Robert, any thoughts about this foolishness I got you into on a humble?
You know, when this started, when you first started with this, I'm like, yeah, you know, a lot of podcasts, they go a few episodes and then they get tired of doing it and it goes away, and it's just become a thing. And if I'm not on the road, it's part of my Sunday. It's just what I do. I get up, I have a cup of coffee, and I come in and chop it up with these guys. And you know, the interesting thing is I've never met any of you guys in person. Never met y'all face to face, but I'm on a text chain. We have great conversations, and you know, I'm honored to be a part of CKA Save Project. It speaks to my heart because I spent a lot of time working in schools where, you know, where the kids who were in my school didn't necessarily have the advantages that other kids have, and it just speaks to me. So I'm happy to have been a part of it, and you know, to 500 more, right?
Appreciate it. Also, I get a chance to just spend time with one of my players who actually wrote the foreword to my book, following. We like to talk about theory in the practice, and you've seen this from the beginning. You were literally there when we started CKA. Any thoughts you have about me roping you into this as well, and talking about the San Francisco 49ers, and just any thoughts you have? Because again, we've been doing this it's 20 years now. We've known each other.
Yeah, no, I think this is awesome, man. Like the relationship that we have is awesome. And I think for us to put it on a platform like this is even better, man. Just again, me, you know, sitting here talking to you, and obviously my former teammate Will Cotton, man. It's awesome. You know what I mean? And like Robert said, you know, now we're all in the group chat. I just love, first of all, I love the fact that the group chat doesn't have any green bubbles. So that's the part of it. You know what I mean? Like this is a great group chat. That's already right there. But again, just this having this platform and let's be able to talk sports. I mean, this is something that we love to do. You know what I mean? And this is how our relationship has always been, Coach. You know what I mean? We've always talked, you know, sports, obviously we talk family and things like that, but this is when we feel most comfortable. And I love this platform that you have, man. I'm great. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Appreciate it. And when I say captain for life, that's not a joke. Whenever, as a player, I needed to know information, Will Cotton was the one that said, Coach, we're doing too much, or, yo, we need to just go ahead and bust them today. And even now as an adult, he's my tech guy. He comes and speaks at schools. He helps whenever. Cotton, man, any thoughts about being along on this journey?
When we started, I didn't even like you. I did not like Coach Adams, dog. I promise you. We used to have Coach Hall, and Coach Hall used to take us both. Remember, Fowler? She used to take us to IHOP on Saturday joints. We order whatever we want, man. And then Coach Adams coming to the joint talk about. I'm still thinking like, man, we going to IHOP, like man, hard practices, all that stuff. But iron sharpened iron, man, and then it became like winning, and then it became like a mantra, And I had the most fun playing with you guys, man. I think it's stuff that we even talk about, man. I think it's just, I'm just happy to be around the ride. I've had some health scares, and I'm just happy I'm still here. That I can enjoy this time with you guys, man. All you guys, man. It's been great to be around, and like you said, we haven't really all meet virtual or real person, but anytime,
Sucker,
yeah,
Las Vegas, one day. That is our trip.
nah. But we it's been an honor to be part of it, man. It's been a great outlet. You know what I'm saying? And it's the one thing that my wife has no qualms about. It's like, she be like, you wake me up talking about, hey, man, we got a podcast going on. Da, 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 da. I'm like, man. So I know she knows I talk about it, and she knows I love it. So I love you guys, man. I appreciate y'all, and your outlook on sports is amazing. And I couldn't have it no other way. I love y'all. So I appreciate it. And I thank you for including me to this.
Go San Fran.
And George and I
I
have known each other.
Period. I ain't got no comma, ain't no after that, semicolon.
George and I have known each other since middle school, and yes, it is my fault that the greatest team that would have beat the dream team was dismantled because somebody didn't do schoolwork very well. But George has jumped in, and he's got about 250 in him too, and I do appreciate it. George, any thoughts, man?
I find it's funny because you pestered me for so long after you got this started. You were like, dog, I got to get you on this podcast. I got to get you on a podcast. And I was like, all right. And I kept putting it off. And then one day I was like, all right, Keith, I'm going to come on. And it's been great being on. I mean, I love the camaraderie. Hell, we got a bunch of us that are on the text chat, but on top of that, like Will and I and Robert and I and stuff, we talk outside of the thing. So it's funny. And of course I get to go back and following on a regular basis. So because he gonna rap about the 49ers all the time, but we're gonna leave that one alone. But no, man, it's been great. I think it's a great venue. I hope it continues to grow and get bigger because I think a lot of people need to come in and hear what, regular dudes that have either been in the game or had some kind of stake in the game. And I mean, like with my background, I'm coming from being a D1 athlete to athletic director, coach, and all these other things. And the guys on here all share stuff not just within the sports realm, but also there's some things that are outside the sports realm we share. So it brings good perspective. So I enjoy it, man. I'm it's like a regular thing to me now. Before, when you were like, come on, get on, I was just like, I kept doing other things, but now it's like I make time to make it. So that's a big thing. So I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me, Keith. Even though you did keep us from winning the championship, I'm gonna leave that alone.
And Coach Johnson, one of the things I like to say about Coach Johnson is the work brought us together. Recruiting brought us together. Interacting just about basketball and life. And the fact that he gives us time, knowing how busy he is, not only being a head coach, but an assistant athletic director, I'm glad he's slowly becoming a regular when he can fit in. Coach, any thoughts, sir?
Hey man, I'm just honored you guys brought me in. It's a pleasure meeting new people. I love listening to the ideas, and this is good. This is something that I know that each man on here is giving back to our young adults, on and off the court. That's what I treasure, that our young people are getting a chance to understand that through basketball, it will open a lot of doors, but also, in your case, we're telling them also, education will open more doors. That's what I love about this group.
Appreciate that. And before we wrap up, Coach Nima, not only did I see him as a student athlete, he fans. Nima played at a local high school that we competed against, and we were fortunate enough to squeak out a couple of victories against them. But
Yeah,
I saw,
by 50.
I saw Nima's growth not only as a young coach, but then somebody who organizes. And Nima is somebody that just brings people together, and to watch his career grow and for him to just give time back for us and something really personal. One time Nima actually gave KJ just some time to just talk about the journey. And that's just who he is as a person. And I'm fortunate enough to have him, not just on the show on occasion, but just somebody that I can use as a resource. Nima, any thoughts before we wrap this up?
I'm very fortunate to share publicly that one of the best pieces of coaching advice I ever received was about 19 years ago. I've coached 20 years now, so this was going into my second year. And it referenced another gentleman on this call, because we talked with Follerin, who had 5 points in the first half, 36 in the second half, in route to that squeaking out victory that you talked about. But I asked Coach Adams while we were standing on the baseline at a summer league game, and I was about to have the opportunity to coach Deontay Twyman, who was an unbelievable talent from our basketball ecosystem of Montgomery County. I said, Coach, any advice? And he said, let him do his thing. And he talked a little bit about how he let you guys that are also on the squad, that were on that very special team that I have unfond but also fond memories of, in terms of how well you guys worked together as a group and competed. But he said, let him do his thing. And I've never forgotten that. You know, don't micromanage talent, I think is the exact word that you used. And I'm just appreciative of the opportunity to discuss all these topics with someone that I hold in such high regard, and allowing us to all come together as men and having these great conversations, men and women. We've had some females on the cast as well, and looking forward to many more spirited conversations in the future.
I appreciate that. So as we close, the Odd Coaches podcast is more than a show. It's a platform. It's a platform dedicated to enhancing the lives of student athletes, educators, by sharing valuable insights, experiences, and expert advice, because everybody we talk to is great at what they do. And one of the things that I remember from that conversation with Coach Nima is, when you have good players, when you have good people, get out of their way and let them be good. So our mission is to just bridge the gap between sports and education, and offer content that inspires and educates and empowers, and have fun doing it, because you got to have great joy with this, even when we talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. So I appreciate it. Shout out to my tag team partner, Coach Franchise, and everybody else involved. The Cavalcade of Stars is real. So on behalf of this Cavalcade of Stars, our super producer, Kelly, the voice of the OCP, Sharita Campbell, 0.5, the worst intern in the country, said with love, sincerity, and deepest care. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org, or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.